Hi ladies, I'm Pidge.
And I'm Moen.
Welcome to the Night Shift Court podcast. We are two shift-working fantasy book lovers and love nothing more than leaving reality behind for a bookish adventure.
Join us as we go under the mountain to discuss our favourite fantasy fiction tales and the authors behind them.
Come with us to explore the stories, one shift at a time. Hi ladies.
Hi! Welcome back.
Perfect.
I know.
You've done, yeah, okay. Yep, I'm happy.
Just a little
I'm good.
spicy, seductive whisper.
Yes, a little bit like how Azriel would speak to you.
Oh, stop it.
I've been thinking about him. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, no, now.
Oh, I just saw something on my For You page.
Oh, yes.
Actually, it wasn't about Azriel. It's about
Cassian?
another man
Oh.
in my history. The one and only Mr. Edward Cullen.
Oh.
Yes, and there's been this like mashup of, you know, the scene where Bella walks in and he's like, and
Yes, when he looks nauseated.
yes, and like people have written on their like point of view when Reese is trying to flirt with Feyre, but her bowels turn watery for the fourth time today.
That's epic.
And I love that Twilight's coming back. And people
There's
realise
so many parodies.
yes. Yeah, no, I just like people are making like hair clips and like if you go to Forks, like there's like tote bags that says like Charlie is my daddy and stuff like that.
Did you see, I don't know because you never responded, but I tagged you in a hair clip post and there's like the bag of eggs.
Yes. I need it. I need it in my life.
I was like almost like I need to add to cart, but
Yeah.
I'm sure Pidge has already done it.
I actually don't think I've seen that. I'm very busy.
Oh, good. Well, okay.
I've been working, you see.
I'll re-tag you.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So back to ACOTAR.
Yes.
Episode 35.
Can't believe we're here already.
I know. I feel like we say that every episode, but
Yeah.
you know, it does continue. The number
It does.
keeps going.
Numbers do tend to go up.
That's right.
Yes.
And these are chapters 46 to 50.
Yes. So last we left off, Feyre was having
Tantrum.
a little tanty with some fire.
Yes.
So she had basically chucked a wobbly at Baron,
Yes.
and that's continuing now.
She hasn't been mad for a little while, actually, has she? She's
No.
been pretty content.
She's been sedate. She's
what
been getting
happens.
laid regularly, you see.
That is what happens.
Yeah.
So Reese speaks to her like mind and mind, gets her to calm down. Honestly, this is the baptizing of the cat situation again. Never in the history has a man ever told a woman to calm down and it's worked.
I often say that to my husband because he does tell me to calm down quite frequently.
Does it
And
enrage you more?
It does. And the words have come out of my mouth. When have you ever told me to calm down? And I actually have calmed down.
Yeah.
Don't fucking say it.
You should say you're baptizing a cat.
Yeah. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
If you want me to calm down, stop fucking talking.
Yes. Just don't be here. I agree.
Bye.
I agree. Anyway, Reese manages to do something that the mortal man never has. Tick. Tarquin actually muses to himself, that's how you got through my wards. So he hadn't figured out how Feyre had done it. He's
Yeah.
had a few months to think about it. Again, this is why Tarquin is dumb. Blank bit of paper. He's only now putting it together. He has had months to think about how Feyre got past his wards.
But that's not just going to come to him.
Oh, if someone stole like one of your most precious items from your court that was gifted to you millennia ago, I would be thinking about it.
Yeah.
I would be thinking hard.
all right. He's dumb.
He is.
Well, Baron tries to leave the meeting now. So he's trying to get out. He's like, this is shit.
Yep.
She's stolen my power. He says something like, oh, I had an inkling of, there was a bit missing?
Oh, that was Helion. He says, I wondered where it went, that little bit. So small, like a fish missing a single scale.
Yes.
But I felt it whenever something brushed against that empty spot.
That imagery, I was picturing the exact scale on a fish.
Yes.
And I was like, that is such a good analogy because it's like so insignificant, but you would notice on yourself.
I don't actually think it is a very good analogy because...
Okay. Disagreeing with me today, aren't we?
Think about it. Tarquin, absolutely fish reference. But for Helion,
Oh, yeah.
feather reference.
Interesting.
What's his beastie form? Guess we'll soon find out.
Indeed.
Feyre sits down and apologises to the Lady of Autumn. She accidentally burnt her arm in the uncontrolled outrage that she had. But Beron says to her, don't talk to her, you human filth. Which, again, everyone's dumb. She's Fae, like clearly.
He's just wildly disrespectful. I don't know how Rhys just doesn't lose his fucking mind.
Well, Rhys actually rips through Beron's shield and uses his power to essentially push him like backwards over the back of his chair, but then dissolves the chair into glitter. So he just falls. Yeah.
A glitter pillow.
Yes, yeah.
So Nesta speaks up at this time and she says she's asking why he's refusing to stand against Highburn essentially. And then she goes into the story about being in the cauldron and seeing the king's heart. And she says she'll bring down the wall and butcher those either side of it. And I don't know why there's such a quick chain of events whereby Beron's like, all right.
Like you don't know why Nesta's the one to convince him out of
Yeah.
everything that he's seen and heard and however many years he's had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like all of a sudden like pop,
Like
something's
bending.
popped into place and Nesta's the voice of reason. But that's fine. Vivian and Crusader end up doing the noble like
Yes.
we shall stand by you.
Yes, yes.
And I love it. That's the women that are essentially
Power
controlling the
Rangers.
narrative now. Like they're like, you know, we're here and we're here to make decisions. We don't have to be high fucking ladies to do so.
Is it not like an example of the world? Men think that they're really good at making decisions, but in fact, they're awful at it and the women are best.
Yes, who run the world? Girls.
Exactly. Rhys says 7 out of 10. Not bad, Cursebreaker. Not bad at all.
Yeah, it's quite sweet.
They bicker for the next 2 hours, of course,
Yes.
about their numbers and weapons, but nobody actually wants to reveal any facts or any secrets or any true information because Tamlin is still present.
Being
So-
a little bitch, mind you.
Yes, he's continuing to make everyone's life difficult for absolutely no reason. Thiessen offers for everyone to stay the night and resume conversation in the morning,
Yeah.
to which they accept.
This next bit is quite enjoyable for me.
Yes, I agree.
So Helion comes to visit everyone that night. So they're all hanging out.
Yes.
And in his typical personality and charisma, he's like playful and deliciously flirty and slutty.
Yes.
He's
a bit like Rhys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd been playing the part at the meeting. So he's let his own self come out now.
Did you notice on the way to the suite that Feyre talks about the birds?
Oh,
So there's like
yeah.
birds
How they're
hanging
hovering.
in like golden cages and there's peacocks milling about.
yeah.
Horrible and noisy.
I do like a peacock. I like them. Why are you looking at me like that? You talk to Janice.
Janice has a purpose. What is the purpose of a peacock?
To look pretty. It's like Asriel.
I just can't get on board with the purpose of a peacock.
Okay, but you speak
Like
to
how-
a Karawong.
Yeah, but the car. She's my friend. I see her today, actually.
Did you?
Yes, I called for her and she came.
Oh, God.
She didn't bring any friends today, though.
Well, that's good. I'm glad your husband will also be quite glad.
I feel the need to clarify why we're talking about a Karawong.
Yes, you probably should.
So the story is that there was a single Karawong that was coming.
Sounded like he said it like as in they're single, as in they're dating.
Just like a singular Karawong. And she would come down when I would feed my horse, and so I called her Janice because she's noisy as fuck. Like, you know, that laugh that Janice from Friends does, you know, and then, you know, the picture, the noise of the currawong. Anyway, so I started feeding her. And then one night she decided to bring 50 of her besties and I thought I'll throw some horse food at, like, not at them, but towards them. And I threw it sort of like round in a circle. But as I went round, I accidentally let go of the bucket handle and my husband was watching out the window. So it kind of looked like I was just like spinning in a circle like the lady from Sound of Music. Oh. Thank you. Anyway, so he yelled out the window at me and he said, "Stop summoning the birds."
Yeah. And I love that Janice is probably a man bird.
Maybe.
And that you just named it a woman and Janice.
Yeah. Well, she comes when I call her now. She waits in the tree. So, fact, you can make friends with birds.
Yes.
People will think that you are crazy.
Yes.
And they will stay away from you, which is the key point.
Oh, now I know your motivation.
Yeah. Like, would you approach a lady who's surrounded by 100 birds?
This is good news because you've got a new angle when the Jehovah's come to your door. You can just start talking to the birds and they'll be like, "Oh, we're best.
They did come. They did come. I think, did I tell you a week ago? They did come, yeah.
And Barry decided to
play Gangster's Paradise really loud.
Perfect.
Yeah. No,
if you need tactics on how to get rid of people that come to your doorstep, we've got all the tips.
Yeah.
Back to ACOTAR. So, yes, the birds are spies.
Yes, I did think that initially, and Helion does say later something about being careful about what Feyre says because of that. But Moore sits down on the sofa with Cassian and he starts rubbing her feet.
I got weirded out about this.
So did I.
It's a very intimate thing to rub someone's feet. And I
agree.
know they fucked. Like, sure. But Azriel's sitting there like a little bitch in the corner.
Yes, and Reese was like, "Oh no, don't ask him about it. It'll make it worse." That is unhealthy.
And the weirdest thing is, like, Cass and Az are like diehard besties, but like Cass is like, you know, fucking caressing Moore's foot in front. I don't get it.
I don't either.
I don't particularly like this exchange other than Helion, because Helion is ready to just fuck everyone.
Yes. He instantly is horny when he walks in the room.
He's like, all of these attractive people that have been turning me down for centuries.
Well, he says to Azriel, "You handing Eris's ass to him will be my new fantasy at night, by the way."
I love him. I think it's so cute. But anyway, Reese is kind of like explaining to Feyre that Helion likes everyone.
And everyone and anyone.
Anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
As long as they're hot, probably. Yep. And Feyre's like, okay. And he's been trying to get Moore and Cass and Az in bed as a foursome together forever.
Yeah. Wow.
Moore would have quite a time. I'm not going to lie.
That's too many. It's too many.
It is too many.
It's too many.
But is it though? I mean,
I'm not getting into it. It's too many for me.
But also, if one, okay, hear me out.
Receiving.
If one man in this foursome situation is keen on both men and women,
yes,
then it's probably not too many.
Yeah.
I'd just like to put a disclaimer in here. I am definitely not speaking from a place of experience, but I feel the need to logically work through the problem.
The logistics of how this is going to go.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
Look, there's a lot of thighs in that for me.
Almost too many thighs.
Yeah, it's too many. It's too many powerful thighs.
I want to know how Moore feels about it. I want a Moore POV for this situation. And if she is like going to bed at night thinking, oh, one day.
Yeah, look, I feel like if she's declined for the last however many hundreds of years, there's definitely a reason.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, there is.
Yeah, there is.
There is. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
So Helion believes Baron's going to choose to join them. And he says his people and wife remember the games he played in the First War that cost him very dearly.
Yeah, yes.
His wife's sisters were butchered during the First War.
Yep.
She's had a hard life.
Mm.
Anyway,
Well, this is really the first thing we learn about her, other than the fact that she's very meek.
yes, and we
Right.
still don't know her name, do we?
No, just the lady
that
of
bothers
autumn.
me.
Yeah.
I don't know why Sarah's done that, but I feel like there has to be a reason.
Well, it's like with the King of Highburn. We don't know
Yeah.
his name.
No, but
he's
they
just
call
referred to
him
as Highburn.
Highburn, yeah. So when Highburn's forces attacked the estate, her sisters bought her time to run. So she was able to escape because they basically jumped in front of the danger, so to speak. She ran and she was caught later and trapped at a ravine, and Helion was the one to save her. And then Feyre asks Helion why. He says she was too young when she married and it was an arranged marriage, so she wasn't particularly invested in the romance behind it. There seemingly was none. It was a business transaction.
Yeah.
Moore says when she heard rumours that delayed her wedding to Bayron, she was actually waiting for a fae she met at an equinox ball.
Yeah. I think it's him because his response is interesting. I heard her family wanted internal ties to power and that they didn't give her a choice before they sold her.
Yeah, it's.
I actually think he's in love with her and always has been.
I don't find that hard to believe at all.
And that he is the sire of our very own eyeball daddy.
Yeah. So Feyre, she basically has this epiphany that Helion had an affair with Baron's wife.
Yeah.
On and off for decades,
Yes.
seemingly. And she realises that Helion's Lucien's father.
Yeah. And that's why Eris helped him escape the Spring Court because Lucien is no threat to Eris's seat
That's right.
within Autumn. I have an idea.
Okay.
I have a theory. You ready?
I'm ready.
I think, I'm quite a big supporter of my man Eris.
You love Eris.
Yeah. I think that he knows a secret that only Moore and Cassian know as well. And I think what that is that, so do you remember when, I'm trying to explain this right, do you remember when Feyre questioned Moore about her night with Cassian?
Yes.
When she went to the Illyrian camp. So she said, I lifted a brow, so you two, ? Moore shrugs and says, once, well, not even. I was 17 and he was a year older when everything had happened. So I'll just take you back. Once, well, not even.
So you think that they haven't slept together?
I think that it was a
Everything but situation?
No, I think it was a gentleman's agreement between the two of them, and that she let happen what happened afterwards. She let her family torture her and whatever the other awful things they did to her because she had to keep up the lie. And I think Eris knows that it's a lie. And she begged him, as I've mentioned before, begged him for freedom because it's the one thing she never had.
Yeah.
And he gave or granted that to her by leaving her there for Asriel to find.
So you think that they've never slept together, that it was all a ruse, and Eris knows and has gone along with it.
Yeah.
And Asriel is being tortured by the fact that they've
Slept together.
and Rhys punished Moore and Cassian significantly for that. So he definitely doesn't know.
So I think that's what Eris, I think that's why there's still such tension between everyone, is because Eris knows this secret and Moore knows that he knows this secret. So that's why she's so easy to willingly forgive Rhys for bringing him back in and being involved in the Court of Nightmares, because she's like, well, can't really push him too hard.
Yeah.
Then Asriel whispered that thing in Eris's ear at the meeting, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it's a big ball of interestingness. So Rhys is shocked that he hasn't put together the pieces about Lucien and Helion. And they discuss that Lucien's gift of flame. Rhys explains that Lucien's mother's magic, their family magic, is strong, and that's why Baron specifically picked her, and so that his gift could be from her. Because we had discussed in an earlier episode about how Lucian's still got the gift of autumn.
That's right.
But it actually
Comes from Mama.
Yeah, it could be total coincidence, and Beron could have, well, he has some because he's High Lord, but doesn't necessarily mean it's from him.
I think the ongoing theme at the moment is that Sarah is giving the women the power.
Yeah.
And I think it just continues from this point on in the story, that the women are the rulers.
Yeah. So Nesta comes storming in, dismissing Helion completely when he tries to bow to her very dramatically, which I love Nesta. I've always loved her. Yeah. Now she's on board. She's in the team.
She is most definitely in the team.
Yeah.
Established, rooted.
Yes.
And she's worried.
Rooted.
With her roots. Everything's so dirty here. God, filth. See what I've got to work with. Hot calling the kettle black. I know.
Honestly, follow me. I'm delicious.
Thighs.
Thighs. Okay. Nesta comes storming in, dismissing Helion completely and telling Feyre that she needs to speak with her right now.
Right fucking now.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Once alone, Nesta tells Feyre that they need to leave, and Feyre dismisses her, but Nesta keeps insisting. Feyre offers to send her back to Valaris, and she says, I don't care about me, ... And then Cassian comes swaggering in the door, looks at Nesta as if nobody else exists, nobody else is in the room, and says, what's wrong?
I love the intensity. It's really hot.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah. I love that he has obviously followed them out of all of the ones to follow them. He's like, I've got it.
Yeah.
And he's just walked straight up to her and said, what's wrong? And what's even funnier is she doesn't question him at all. She just starts explaining what's happened. If it's not already obvious to everybody else, it was certainly obvious to me what was happening with Nesta and Cassian or Nessian. And
love it.
We're just seeing more and more of these little interactions between the two of them and how they just instantly work together. She doesn't fight him anymore.
No.
I'm loving the development of their relationship.
The intensity is level 10 and they've both accepted it.
Yes, yeah.
Reese and Az, they're like, right, we've got to check this out. So they winnow away and they say they find no signs of trouble.
Yeah.
Then there's the flirting with Moore and Helion.
Yeah, so Helion decides to stay for a private dinner in the rooms, and Feyre notices Helion glancing at Moore and Moore sneaking looks at him too. I can't figure out what's happening.
I think she's just playing him now.
No, I still can't figure it out. Anyway, once alone, Reese explains to Feyre that Moore is easily spooked and that what Asriel did today scared the shit out of her. He said the violence as a result of what he feels, lingering guilt over the deal with Eris, and what neither of them will face. Reese explains that he's okay with this as they both had ample opportunity to sort out their issues and that they both refused to.
Yeah.
And Asriel thinks that she's happier without him, given her history. He's assumed that she doesn't want to be tied down, right? That she would do anything to avoid matehood / marriage / being tied to someone, and he believes that he isn't worthy of her. It's quite a continuing trend with Asriel that he's not worthy. And Reese says that there'll come a time when Asriel will have to decide to fight for more or to let her go.
Yeah, and this, because you've planted the seed, this kind of concept is a bit ruined for me because I'm like, okay.
Did I ruin ACOTAR?
No, you didn't ruin ACOTAR for me, for goodness sake. The concept of Asriel not being in love with Moore, essentially. He's knows things about her. But what do you think about the fact that, so you've planted this seed now about Cass and Eris and they're the three of them having a secret.
Yeah.
Do you think Asriel knows about this?
I think that my opinion of Asriel and Moore is that Moore is Reese's only remaining family member and he's become High Lord and he's taken his two friends who he believes are useful to him along with him on this journey, and that Asriel thinks of her like family.
Yeah.
He knows that Reese is strong enough to look after himself and he knows that Moore is very emotionally driven. So I actually just think that he's more inclined to shift himself in front of her and, all these little tiny things that he does. I actually think that it's just his way. You've got to remember that Azriel is a very broken person, I think.
Yes.
His history is that he's very broken. He probably has never seen or interacted with a lot of females before Moore.
Yeah.
Like there was only really him being locked away in a dungeon, and then he had these awesome powers. So he was brought out and kept, attached to the High Lord, and then he fought in the war, and then Rhys disappeared. So I actually just think that I don't actually think he's in love with Moore. Just like I don't think Cassian was ever in love with Moore or ever was. And that is what gives weight to my theory around the fact that they never slept together in the first place. I think that they're all just bonded through chosen family for whatever their history makes them believe. And that's kind of the end of that.
We've discussed earlier about how there's not really any plot holes in ACOTAR because the author's exceptional.
Yeah.
But I did feel like there was a bit of a plot hole in certain instances whereby Az has these amazing shadow singer powers. He's constantly getting whispers of things and stuff.
Yeah.
Is meant to have all of this intel, but then he gets thrown off the case by some things. It's like, is he just a tortured soul with every truth and he reveals only the ones that matter? Because they're always one step ahead, even when, well, not so much shortly, but in general, they're always one step ahead of things. I do wonder sometimes if he selectively reveals things to Rhys and does know everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Azriel is at the same spot that Eris is for us in relation to his character development. So we don't know a lot about him, just like we didn't know a lot about Rhys in book 1.
Yeah.
We didn't really start to learn about him until halfway through book 2, and we're still learning about him, but we sort of got the majority of the fact that he's the High Lord and that he was lying.
He's not the villain anymore.
Yeah. You figured out the bulk of it. So I feel like Azriel's much the same. Very similar to Cassian. He's just more relatable, I think, because he's like flirty and he uses his words more than Azriel does. There's not a lot of times where Azriel talks.
Yeah.
It's more about the actions and how he looks when Sarah describes him.
Yeah.
So she uses his body language and his facial expressions to describe his feelings, whereas Cassian's a lot more open with his feelings, and as is Rhys after he revealed everything to Feyre, right? So and Eris is a bit the same. We see, like before he winnowed away from the High Lord's meeting, there was a look that crossed his face, which as a reader you interpret that there's something more there. You just don't know what that more is.
Yeah.
So I feel like Azriel's much the same in his level of character development. What I love is that there will eventually be a book about him, right? You can assume. And I'm hoping that it means we get a book about everybody in the inner circle, which also means we would get more in Amryn as well.
We can only hope.
Right?
We deserve it though.
Well, don't we?
We do.
Rhys further says in relation to relationships, he's the relationship god tonight. Cassian will also have to decide some things in the near future, I think.
Yes.
And Feyre questions, she says, are he and Nesta, ? And as we can all ascertain, I think she's asking, are he and Nesta mates? And he tells her that it's impossible to know until the bond snaps into place. But we're all thinking the same thing. He just said it.
Yeah.
But Rhys does tell Feyre, Tamerlane still loves you,
Oh,
it's uncomfortable.
I'm a bit nauseous. And then they're talking about how, I don't know if it's here or later, about him being asleep in the castle somewhere. Castle? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
and they're like,
palace.
she's like, I can't have sex with you because he's here somewhere. I'm like, oh, fuck off.
That is exactly what I thought. I was like, do it loud.
Do it proud. Do it loud and proud. Do it in public. Do it in the corridor.
Do it on the balcony.
Go outside Tamlin's room and have a gay old time.
Open up the bird cages. Let the peacocks in.
Have a big orgy. Go on. You know you want to.
Helian's there.
Helian's keen.
You questioned earlier why Moore, Cassian and Azriel didn't say yes. And then Rhys was like, oh, wouldn't you like another mallet? He's right there. Helian and his thighs are there. Get him.
Get him. SIC EM REX. Segueing into something more somber.
Oh.
Feyre does remember to tell Reese about how Tamlin, she searched for the wings.
Yeah.
And she said to Reese that Tamlin had burnt them and it was years ago. And Reese is, very sad about that.
Do you believe him?
I don't.
Neither do
I
I.
think that was a easy thing for him to say. And I don't know why it would be a thing if it wasn't a thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's such a significant thing.
So do you want to know the reason why I don't believe he burnt? Why I believe that he didn't burn them. So the wings were cut off on the night when Reese was supposed to go to meet them, and Tamlin knew that they were going to be there. And then afterwards, Reese and his dad went to the spring court and they murdered Tamlin's dad. And in the process, Reese's dad also died, and then they felt the power transfer to them, and then Reese vanished. And then Under the Mountain happened.
Yeah.
So what has happened in between? Why would Tamlin have any good reason to burn them if he knew that that was the way that they would honour the dead is to burn their body? Why would he why would he bury the hatchet by burning their wings in the appropriate and respectable fashion?
Yeah, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You just, what's the reason?
Yeah.
You're not honouring.
And then since Under the Mountain, he's been bitter at Reese because of the bargain. Like they've never buried the hatchet, so there's never been a reason for Tamlin to actually do that.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to pay respect.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I can only assume, based on the fact that Feyre had said to the mortal queens, do you remember about the cauldron? She said, I'll light your pyre myself. That's where I've ascertained that that's probably what their normal funeral practice would
That's
be,
right. Yeah.
And it's what it generally was in the old days
Exactly.
as well, right? So,
yes.
yeah, that's why I believe that the wings are still out there and that they'll come back at some point.
Yeah, I'm with you. So Feyre happens to hear some shenanigans all night long. Yeah. So while she feels wildly uncomfortable having sex with Reese, she still has to hear Moore and Helion going at it like rabbits.
Do you think Tamlin's misunderstood and thought it was Reese and Feyre?
I can only hope.
Right?
That makes me oddly happy that Tamlin may have been like,
What the fuck is that?
yeah. But I'm assuming he'd be able to tell the difference because he has been with Feyre and he does know her noises.
Reference, yes. Reese puts up a shield to avoid said noises all for the rest of the evening. But Helion is well gone by the time that everyone is awake. And at the breakfast table the next morning, Feyre notes that Moore didn't look like a well-orgasmed lady, but rather there was a paleness in her golden skin.
Pregnant already?
Maybe.
Fertile bitch.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
So Cassian swaggers in and says, you look terrible. Helion keep you up all night? Moore throws her spoon and then soon after her porridge follows. And again, this is the reason that I believe that nothing happened between the two of them, because Cassian alludes to the fact that it did to keep up the story.
Yeah.
But you would think, or maybe just enough time has passed that they can laugh about it.
Sure.
But that would seem a little strange, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So they dress and they head up to the chamber with the pool in it again. Feyre keeps the crown but chooses a different dress, a glittering black dress with shimmering obsidian gossamer.
This is the one that people make for the balls.
Yes, yeah. Helion's already there, and he does in fact start the meeting by telling Tamlin that he has reviewed his charts and figures from yesterday. When the fucking hell did he have time to do that? Like at the same time.
Going at it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's charted on the ceiling and he's
maybe memorising it.
Look, good.
Yeah. I would love to know what happened here.
Yeah.
Tamlin says that holding the front line is impossible for the spring court now, as he only has a third of his army left, thanks to Feyre. And honestly, he's on about it again, isn't he? Shut up.
I know. Can Reese do the thing again?
I'd be like tapping him like on the thigh. Just do it. Like, stop him talking. Anyway, Feyre hears Nesta make a breathy, sharp noise before she surges from her chair.
Ralph.
Yeah. Well, I thought she was going to attack Tamlin.
Yes.
And so I was like, oh, here we fucking go.
Yeah, we're on.
But she vomits into the reflection pool.
Yes. Can you imagine the coys? Is it?
They've been coming as quick as they can.
Putrid.
Honestly, priority 1 response.
Absolutely. Send the CRU.
I think what's worse is that vomiting into liquid is visibly disgusting.
Can we move on?
I want to talk about
No,
this a little
I
bit more.
I don't.
Like normally you would vomit into an emesis bag, right?
Thank you.
And like it is small and well contained.
But what about the toilet?
Yeah, but that's a very small hole full of water.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
for a small vomit, yes.
Again, let's move on, shall we? I'm getting nauseated talking about it.
All right. They feel a shadow go through the earth and Reese throws out his power around them, or specifically around Feyre, fuck everyone else.
Yes.
And like covers her with his body, whatever.
The hero.
Yeah, the hero. And he informs them that the king has just used the cauldron to take out the wall.
Yeah, it didn't take long, did it?
No.
And everyone's like, oh. Good.
This has all been for naught. They winnow back to Valaris, and over dinner that night at the townhouse, they muse that Nesta is able to tell when the king is going to use the cauldron. If you will remember, the day before, she was very panicked and said that they had to leave but couldn't explain why. And they believe that that's why the king hunts her, because she will be able to tell them when he's about to use the cauldron.
Yes, like calls to like.
But Feyre does recall that Varian said to her before everybody winnowed from the Dawn Court minutes afterwards, tell her thank you, I'll tell her myself next time I see her.
I love them.
Yeah, I'm here for Varian.
Yeah, he's nice. I can't wait with the Book of Amryn that we'll definitely get. We'll get more of Varian.
Oh, yeah. No, I really like their relationship, actually.
Elaine has kicked into gear now.
Yes.
She's all of a sudden come alive.
Since Lucian's left.
Yeah, it's strange. So she's got some weigh-in about Grayson and the human lands and protecting as many humans as possible.
Well, now the wall's down. It's a bit of a
fucked.
fave free-for-all, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And so she's thinking, like strategizing, what can we do to protect and to like harbour as many humans as possible, because they're all going to get annihilated, let's be honest. So she says they could evacuate to their estate in the human lands and take them to Grayson's estate.
Yes.
Grayson's father has been planning for something like this for years. It's got high walls, it supplies, lots of ash weapons.
Yep.
And so
Dogs trained to smell the fae.
all of the things.
Yeah.
So she asks Reese to glamour her and to appear as a human.
Yes.
Because she doesn't want to freak her fiance out.
Yeah.
She's still wearing the ring.
She's
still
obsessed.
She's still holding a candle for him.
She is.
And I find this whole exchange really sad. But Reese does it and they prepare to go south.
Before everybody leaves, Feyre actually says to Elaine, are you sure? And Nesta's like, I can go, let me go, I'll talk to him. And Elaine's like, he doesn't know you and he hates you.
Look, it's like she's grown a funny bone and some balls.
Yes, absolutely. Elaine goes to her room to dress, and Cassian, who was lingering in the corner speaking to Reese, approaches Feyre and Nesta. He says, dresses aren't good for flying, ladies. And Nesta, like in a really small voice, replies, I've never worn pants. And Cassian says, I have no doubt you'd start a riot if you did.
The bouquet.
If you can imagine Nesta, right, who's like prim, proper, elegant, just the pinnacle of the 1920s lady.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden she's got to put on pants.
And like leathers.
Yeah, like tight pants, not even a pair of culottes.
Peach. A beautiful little peach.
Yes.
That's all I can see in my head. I'm like, peach.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So I love that Cassian disarms her sadness by saying something like that.
Yeah.
She goes to move past him, but he stops her and presses an Illyrian knife into her hand. And he says to her, Ash can kill you now. A scratch will make you queasy enough to be vulnerable. Remember where the exits are in every room, every fence and every courtyard. Mark them when you go in and mark how many men are around you. Mark where Reese and the others are. Don't forget that you are stronger and faster. Aim for the soft parts, and if someone gets hold of you, and then he proceeds to show her where the soft parts are on a man.
This is the part in the movie when there's a girl getting a guy to show her how to play pool on a billiard table and he's behind her and he's like pressed up.
Whilst I just couldn't stop thinking about the fact that Feyre and Reese are standing there and he's like running her hand on the like obviously the crutch is the softest part. Do you know what I mean? Like running Feyre and Reese are just watching.
It's almost as awkward as Lucian holding Reese's hand while
so like I didn't write it down, but when like Feyre's describing the bits where he was like, you know, under the arm and like on the side, and then she's like the inside of the thigh and the crutch. I'm like, are you watching this? Watching it happen? Like,
yes.
Perv.
Yeah.
Cassian, you know, saunters away. And Nesta looks to Feyre and says, don't even start.
Just put yourself in, like if we were, if Barry was.
You'd be like, can you guys fucking not?
No. I'm not okay.
You you're like, oh, 4 dicks isn't too many. And then you're like, oh, I couldn't stand to see you touch Barry. Oh, putrid. I tell you, if there was
I'm not saying I want 4 dicks. I'm saying more would be
more
like
is better. Trust me, if you can't stand to see someone touching the inside of someone else's thigh, you've got a whole thing coming with the 3 other men in the room.
Okay, so Feyre goes to see Amren.
Yeah.
And Feyre asks Amren about the creature under the library.
Yes.
And Amren has all the intel. Obviously, she's been doing all the research.
Yeah.
She says it's Briaxis.
What's even funnier was Feyre didn't ask its name.
No.
She said, the creature beneath the library, do you know it?
Yeah.
And instead of saying yes, Amren said its name is Briaxis.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, sure. Like, yeah. Anyway, she tells Amren she wants to make another bargain with it.
Yeah.
And she needs her to examine the wards that are basically housing Briaxis.
Yeah.
She takes Amren to walk with her, to talk to Briaxis. This is getting a bit hectic now. But like Cassian doesn't like this creature.
No.
It makes him pale.
Yes.
And Cassian's
Sweaty.
normally golden and delicious.
It's very diaphoretic.
He doesn't like it. So Amren confirms that she, in fact, has the skill to break the wards that are housing Briaxis.
Yes. Yeah.
She asks if Briaxis if he will fight in the war for her if she frees him. I'm saying him. We don't really. Do we know if it's a him or a her?
I picture a him, but I think
So
there
do
has
I.
been some discussion about it, her being genderless.
Sure.
But I'm going to continue because I picture a male figure.
So do I. Because it's the Balrog.
Yeah,
And the Balrog looks manly.
Exactly. Like masculine, like
Sure.
muscly and intimidating and not like lithe and smooth and yeah. So
and if Cassian's afraid of it, then surely it's a dude.
yeah. So I'm going to refer to Briaxis as a male.
Okay. He says to Feyre the library's his home. He doesn't want to be free. And he just wants a window
Yeah.
so he can see the sky.
It's very
I feel sorry for it.
So, okay, you know I'm a stickler for
I knew you'd have something to tell me.
specificity.
Yes.
So, Feyre offers to bind him or have him bound to a fae like Amren
Yes.
if he fights for them.
Yeah.
And he says, this is my home. He doesn't say yes or no. He just says, this is my home. In exchange, he wants sunlight and moonlight, the stars. Feyre is confused until Amren clarifies a window high above. And Feyre's like, that's it?
Yeah.
But you'll notice he doesn't confirm a window or not, what he asks for is sunlight and moonlight and the stars. I think once he's very smart and that he wants sunlight, daytime, moonlight, nighttime, stars, nighttime again.
Yeah.
But he wants freedom to see the sunlight and the moonlight.
Everything Bryaxis does is unspecific.
Yes.
Right? It's the same with the first bargain.
Yeah.
Just wants company.
Yeah.
Doesn't specify
Who, what,
when, how often, where.
Yeah.
Just company.
Yeah.
So it all makes me very nervous.
Yeah, yeah. Then he asks, will I be able to hunt without restraint on the battlefield, drink in their fear and dread until I am sated?
Yes, you are.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
We won't need to do anything.
Doesn't clarify if he actually kills them or not or what actually occurs, but I'm keen. But they all gather in the townhouse an hour later after the bargain is made. More winnows Nessian, literally. Yeah. Can Cassian winnow?
Well,
We've never seen him winnow before.
I don't think so. I don't think Az or Cass can winnow.
Asriel can winnow. Remember, he winnowed away with the Ator. And that was the first time we've ever seen him winnow. We've never seen Cassian winnow yet. And it got me thinking, if Moore is taking Nesta and Cassian to the human estate, it's because Cassian can't winnow himself or isn't strong enough to winnow himself or himself and Nesta. Just a thought.
Asriel has been winnowed by others before though.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, if you could do it, why you wouldn't do it.
That's right. That's why I was like,
Weird.
why doesn't Cassian just take himself or himself and Nesta?
Yeah.
Anyway, before Feyre and Rhys winnow, she tells him about the bargain that she made with Bryaxis, and he says Cassian will never recover when he sees his newest recruit. That's it for this episode of the Night Shift Court podcast. Join us again next week where we will continue the adventure of ACOTAR's Book 3, A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Whichever platform you're listening on, we would so appreciate a 5-star review. You can follow us at The Night Shift Court on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok.
I hope the night is kind.